Hello, everyone. My name is Subram Natarajan. I am the Director of Customer Engineering at Google Cloud India. In my role as the leader for customer engineering, I get to work with a lot of customers in their digital transformation pursuit. I'm really glad to be talking with you all, sharing some of the perspectives on what makes our lives as developers easier and what we do at Google Cloud to make that happen. Later in this session, we will also have the pleasure of one of the eminent industry personalities who's been there, done that, sharing his view on this subject. But before I do that, I want to share some context, particularly when it comes to application development. In the digital era, applications or apps which enable you all to connect and deliver the end customers, they become the centerpiece of any organizational development. In the age of innovation, the new way of building and modernizing the enterprise systems is through leveraging cloud native technologies, the cloud native architectures and engineering. Cloud native applications and platforms make this whole magic happen. We built Google Cloud for developers, and we are inspired by what you have created with it. For years, developers have been using Google technology like Google Kubernetes, Firebase, TensorFlow, Go, Angular, etc., and have built the most innovative of services that we have seen. Now let's look at how to innovate. When we talk about application development, three things come to the fore of every developers. Go fast, and this does not mean that you devise a faster operation and mechanism in your development cycle. This is about creating an application that are simple, adds new value to the business and end users. In every organization, there is a need for consciously using the existing investment and consciously resist the temptation to create newer applications that pretty much does the same thing or even add marginal value to the existing set of applications. We need to be constantly reminded of the benefits of reuse. Now, when it comes to the third aspect that is there in application developers' minds, it's about the choice: where to run, what machine, what cloud, whether it is going to be on-prem or off-prem. So when you talk about all of these things, there are two main areas that Google Cloud focuses on to support your growth: making it easier for developers to get the job done effectively. Second is investing in the developer community itself to learn and grow from each other, through the best practices and so on. Now let's really dive into this a little bit deeper. There are two essential levers that are key to improving the productivity. The first one is about simplifying the payload, and the developers themselves worry about only simplification of that, right? Not necessarily worrying about the infrastructure. This is about the separation of concerns. The second one is the level of automation that we can achieve in accelerating various functions of the development cycle. Now, Google Cloud offers you the choice regardless of whether you are managing your applications or infrastructure. From deploying and running the virtual machines, with compute engines that we all have come to use more regularly, or even containers in Kubernetes engine. And containers are very common these days. If you want to get away from infrastructure completely on how you manage performance, scale, availability, and the answer could be, running it in the PaaS mode, fully curated PaaS engines. Today, Google Cloud PaaS supports close to about 320 billion requests just in a day, and it works very well. Many languages are out of the box support, bringing your own framework to be complied within. Now, when we talk about the next level of sophistication, we talk about cloud functions or completely serverless architectures, completely freeing the developers from even having to worry about compute and storage. And this will let the developer focus on just the functions alone. Earlier, we talked about going fast. Here are the bricks that we are laying to build that foundation. So therefore, the new unit of development will be function, not operating systems or containers or jars. They are not in sight now. The benefits are just enormous. Quick and easy way to write and maintain. And you only pay for when you're consuming it or when you're running it. When you combine all of these things, you realize that all of a sudden you're going fast. Now the trick is, how do you bring the legacy applications along for a ride? And that is where the APIs come in. When you talk about APIs, the enterprises have a large landscape. If it is a smaller organization, there will be hundreds of applications. If it is a large organization, there will be thousands of applications. Now, API and API management ties them all together. It leaves the existing systems in place, puts a new API layer on them, and it will allow you to get modern REST interfaces, and that includes, your authentication, authorization, quota management, logging, etc. Essentially, the idea would be to replace the old backend wherever it is applicable and it's suiting. Now, you really talked about, we really talked about how to go fast and how to make those choices that we saw earlier. From a Google Cloud perspective, lots of choices are there, whether it is language, the granularity of what you want to manage. We saw from VM all the way to cloud functions, the ability to leverage the existing apps through APIs. To really be multi-cloud, we need to be consistent across all environments, and it focuses on two main elements. The first one is on the deployment. We need to use the same tools to deploy and access all the apps across all environments. We need to make sure that it runs. So that is the reason why you need to use the same tools. Next is the operational element. We need to use the tools to configure, manage, and orchestrate. All of this thing need to really come together. And then the question is, why do you need all of these things? That's because there is a fair bit of skills, tools that is there in place. And this is the best way to reuse some of these skills and tools that we have already put together. If you think about it, Kubernetes was designed to address this particular area, allowing operators and developers to manage containerized app on any cloud, not only just Google Cloud, on any cloud. And it has been open source right from the beginning. You all know that. And it's been seeing enormous momentum. Just last year alone, we had about 35,000 pull requests. And this is just second only to Linux. It's fairly mature. It added certification in November 2017. So, it speaks to the level of maturity that it has reached. And then, of course, last but not least, there is a strong adoption in the market. We did a recent survey, and it suggests close to about 54% of the Fortune 100 companies are using it across all industries. It's become, in a way, de facto standard, if you will. Again, Google Cloud is leading the open hybrid multi-cloud arena from the front. Now, when you talk about Google Kubernetes engine, you get the best-in-class container management as a service. This allows you to integrate with other Google Cloud services, BigQuery, for example, or Spanner, to name a few. But then, it does not stop only with that. You configure containers and manage policies, and then start moving upstream. And we do the rest of the stuff. As a platform level, we do the logging, monitoring, health management, and all the essential aspect required for IT and IT management. You focus on application, and then the cluster management is done by the platform provider. Managing applications in itself does not stop at managing containers. You need to manage the services and in the containers themselves. You need to find a way to connect, secure, and monitor all the applications in a standard way. And we need to do this without burdening the developer. This is what I meant when I said separation of concerns initially. reduce the surface area that the developer has to care about so that it can help them go faster. This is what Istio is all about. By using a network proxy for each container service component, Istio enables improved security. It also supports strong authentication and at the service level, not at the host level. So as a developer, you don't need to worry about security elements. You focus only on the application code. Security policy is managed by the security ops team. Now, the second thing that Istio does very well is the application level observability. There is a uniform observability across the board it brings about. And this includes key metrics such as traffic, error rates, latency, and so on. And when you talk about call logs in and out of services, Istio becomes an essential element. This makes it easier for developers to debug the latency as well as the hotspot issues. So when we talk about speeding up the whole development process, this is what it means, both speeding development as well as improving quality. And finally, Istio enables improved agility through traffic management. It manages the flow in and out of the applications effectively. There is no need to configure ingress, egress, edge layers, or even hardware load balancers. And you can change the behavior without changing code or redeploying your applications anywhere else. It enables developers to focus on developing applications without worrying about, say, network or security. In many ways, this achieves the standardization that developers strive for. Standardization on cloud and sometimes across clouds also. So Istio as an open source project, just like Kubernetes, has become extremely popular these days, allowing everyone to drive its future for the benefit, and not only for a set of developers, but for across all. As I said, it is achieving the multi-cloud, hybrid cloud kind of scenario quite seamlessly. Now, so far we talked about how you accelerate the whole digital transformation from a developer perspective. We have come a long way from analog days to digital age, where we have seen the whole arena of development and application development in particular accelerate to a large degree. Now, as we charge forward to a quantum phase, you will see the programming framework, application development framework even evolve even more effectively and continuously. Okay, so let me zoom out and summarize what we have talked so far. We live in an exciting time. I'm so grateful to be part of this technology and technology times revolution that is happening right here, right now. You need to undertake the journey of digital transformation and use cloud as the primary vehicle to make that happen. Whether you are a startup looking to disrupt the industry, or whether you are a 150-year-old company looking to become agile, need to take advantage of what cloud offers you, and bring about some of those quantum benefits that you will realize in your businesses. The opportunity is going to be defined by the technology. You need to decide whether to divest. And when I say divest, it is about getting out of the business of delivering, that is designing, building, maintaining, monitoring, and operating IT. And then start talking about investing in what supports the differentiation. This is where inclusion of insights, artificial intelligence, and data related aspects come in. All of these need to be done in a secure manner. Finally, innovation. Digital transformation is just not about technology. It's people, culture, processes, structure, and this enables the entire new ideas to grow seamlessly. You need to partner with Google Cloud because we offer you the trusted platform. The intelligence is built in as a service, and a better way to build and run application is provided right from get-go. And scaling is given with the level of scalability that we have seen elsewhere in the Google platform. Whatever your business is, whichever route you take, whatever your destination be, Google Cloud has been built from top to bottom, from the data center to your devices, for trust, performance, and scale. I hope you will take advantage of our leadership, particularly in the area of cloud as well as in the data science and machine learning and collaboration. Helping your businesses and people to be more productive will become the centerpiece of becoming eminent in your line of business. All right, I'm excited to introduce Suresh Khemka. He heads the platform engineering and infrastructure at APNA Times, and he manages the IT function that serves the needs of the entire APNA community. He has a rich experience in reliability, SRE, and performance engineering. He has lived through their lives and has a rich pedigree of how developers see their day evolve along the way. Progressive ideas and how cloud makes the entire development easier is something that Suresh has very clear in his mind. Suresh, warm welcome and thanks for spending time with us today and allowing us an opportunity to share your thoughts on this subject.
Thanks, Subram, and thanks, Team DevCon, for providing me this opportunity to talk about APNA, as we call APNA Times. Glad to be here.
So, Suresh, let me tee it off with a question and then we can get into a discussion. Can you tell us a little bit about APNA Times and some of the unique challenges you and your teams are solving today?
Sure. I love talking about APNA. And APNA was founded in 2019, just before the pandemic, But APNA is today India's largest job and professional networking platform. It's dedicated to helping India's rising workforce to unlock unique professional networking and skilling opportunities. Our job platforms leverages a sophisticated algorithm that matches candidates with employers, taking into account their skills, experience, and preferences. Apna app also comprises of 70 plus different communities, for skilled professional like telecallers, field sales agent, delivery personals, carpenters, painters, and many others. Apna communities, these communities have enabled users to grow their professional networks, upskill through peer learning, and find, gig and job opportunities. We have undertaken a Herculean task of solving Earth-scale problem of unemployment, poverty, and skilling. And these are the biggest challenges in current times. The Apna is a mission-oriented company, and our mission is to empower the next billion users with access to employment, professional networking, and upskilling opportunities. And we are also trying to bring a complete, absolute cultural and social change in the society through technology, which led us to building a breakthrough product and one of its unique kind of platform that is helping in economically uplifting family incomes and raising the standard of living in India. Our vision is to become the largest professional networking platform for the rising workforce for the entire world and making employment accessible for all and bridging the deficit of trust between job seekers and company human resources, right? At present, we are trusted by 22 million users and 200,000 employers. And in such a short span of time, we have expanded to 70 plus cities within India, and we have enabled more than 350 million interviews and professional conversations so far.
Wonderful. I mean, the scale is really very interesting and exciting, and I'm sure in this whole journey of yours, digital and digital technologies play a critical role, and not only to the current status but also to the vision of future. How does cloud play a role in that future, Suresh?
Absolutely. I think we consider ourselves as a tech company or a digital native or cloud native, right? So, Subram, you touched upon how in last few years there has been a revolution, how we deliver applications and especially in the digital space, right? And I think cloud plays a very central and critical role in that. And if you look at, there has been many things which evolution of those together in sync has led us to, this day today, right? Whether it's, how do you build applications in an agile fashion, whether it's about, service oriented, architectures or microservices, advent of containers, and then Kubernetes, which you also touched upon, right? And we do see that, how in multiple domains, like take example of fintech space today. Products are being built which are fully digital, and the same is the case with Apna. And cloud helps in lowering that entry barrier. That entry barrier for starting a digital product has come down very significantly, and also permitted not only startups but legacy organizations or big enterprises to digitally transform across industries their businesses, right? And then serve those products digitally. And we saw during last 2 years, right, the pandemic had just hastened this pace. And I don't think without cloud that would have been possible, right? We all started working remote, and I think cloud has a big role to play in that. And I think when cloud started, it was more about cost, right? Or maybe scaling or getting infrastructure on demand. But I think that's not it. Cloud, as you mentioned also, cloud enables speed, cloud enables agility. And talking specifically about Apna, as I said, we are digitally native. If you look at, we have a decision to make when we just started, right? Okay, how do we deliver our services to our end users, which are our job seekers, right? And we decided to just go with a Android app, right? Because most of the people, using Apna to found jobs, they don't use desktop, or they don't have internet connection. But if you look at the cell phone revolution and the internet revolution in India has actually enabled us to reach out at to every corner of India. We don't have a physical interface. We don't even have a web applications for our candidates, or job seekers, right? And they just use their mobile apps to access Apna services. And our backend services, and as I spoke about the sophisticated algorithm, which matches both the candidates and the companies, right, based upon their skills, their expertise, their preferences, right? Those are running on cloud. So we were you can say we were born in cloud, okay? And another aspect is that we put a lot of emphasis on trust and safety, right? Apna is not only a jobs marketplace but a community also. And trust and safety of the communities is our foremost objective, because that empower us to provide a safe space to Apna user to share their learning and experience. And I can say, with confidence that without democratization of AI ML, and I think you touched upon this, right? Those services in cloud, that would have been, a much longer, effort for us, right? So, cloud has, helped us a lot, to quickly roll out products and get feedback, right? And we view Apna as a tech company, not a tech-enabled operation company. And for us, cloud will continue to be the key part of our future journey also.
Yeah, Suresh is excellent. Apna as a tech company, that kind of underscores, the progressive mindset that you all have. And I also like the way that you said security is front and center and not an afterthought, right? Another question that comes to my mind, and you touched on that briefly, is how various insights or artificial intelligence, machine learning, those aspects have a play in this whole journey of yours, right? I'm sure you are using that extensively as well.
Absolutely. And as I said, see, we are cloud native, right? If you look at every startup, or most of the startups have similar kind of journey, right? So you have a great idea, you start solving that problem, and you have to quickly prototype and build those solutions. Basically, you are experimenting fast, right? You want to get that product out, right? And we exactly did that, right? We rolled out our product, we learned from response from our end users, we iterated, and then we kind of kept on building new and new services, right? And not only AI ML, right? See, we generate a lot of data. As I said earlier, 22 million users and 200,000 employers, right? It's not just that, okay, hey, we have those users on board and we show them jobs, right? We actually do a lot of screening. Okay, we want to make our platform more and more relevant to users, so that they can get their insights, they can get the value very quickly, rather than searching through multiple jobs. So that's what we call screened leads, and that we have to process and crunch a lot of data, right? And on top of that, we have to build a lot of different sophisticated algorithms, right? So we are using lot of those capabilities which cloud or in this case, GCP specifically provide for us, right? And not only that, right? So you get started, and the next phase is you become successful, right? And you start expanding, and you have to scale. So for us, like we started expanding, our platform become popular, and our workload increased exponentially. And let me tell you, that increased very fast, and you know we have to scale. There is no other option. And I think scaling with GCP, made it seamless. And I'm gonna touch upon GKE a lot more, but I think you spoke about GKE, how it opens GKE system, and how does it enables developers to build applications faster and actually run them without much overhead, right? So when we started, we were in a quick experimentation mode. So we just took compute and storage, build apps, right? But then we have to build new features, and our applications, our systems kind of started getting complex. And that's where our next logical step was to move to a services architecture. Now we run our applications on containers, and Kubernetes is our choice of container orchestration. And with us being in GCP from the beginning, the migration was very straightforward, and we don't have to set up or manage Kubernetes, right? And as I was talking about trust and safety, not only that, right? Building a lot of insights from the data we get, right? Google's services are actually helping us a lot. We don't have to start from scratch. We can go and take those services and build specifically for us.
Excellent. So I think you touched on various aspects of Google Cloud, and one of the aspects that you mentioned, which attracted my attention quite a bit, is how you exponentially scaled, and the cloud platform didn't even flinch an eyelid to really allow you to scale effortlessly. And then, I also love the way that you're using Kubernetes and GKE effectively, right? Outside of these two and the AI ML security, you think about any Google Cloud unique, specialities that you make use of?
Sure, but let me start with saying that the biggest impact which we have with Google Cloud, that is quite simple and effortless to start with GCP, right? It's quite intuitive, and as I lead platform engineering, I am a big believer of platforms, and I think you touched upon that. But the biggest challenge to rapid innovation is cognitive load on our engineers, right? We want them to focus as much as on building core business logic, solving the problem which we are trying, which we intend to solve, rather than worrying about infrastructure or how I'm gonna deploy my application, how do I gonna size my application, monitor them, operate them. And Google Cloud has helped us considerably in reducing that cognitive load on our developers and DevOps team. And many features out of the box, right? I will not talk about lowest common denominator like compute and storage, right? And I already mentioned GKE, right? In fact, GKE is our internal developer platform foundation, right? It helps us scale seamlessly, right? Our number of microservices which we have building or migrating the existing workload, they keep on growing week by week. And believe me, it's a very short span of time where we launch a new service and suddenly it becomes hugely popular, and there is a explosion in workload demand, right? So GKE helps us that. And not GKE, right? Not only GKE, but if you look at Firebase, okay. So we use Firebase. Firebase actually helped us, to quickly build that Android app, which runs on Android, right? And it's used by all those 22 million users in India today. We can launch new features, without much risk, right? We can do gradual rollout of those features. We can monitor how our apps are being used by end users on different devices, different Android versions. Where do we see an issue? We can continuously monitor performance and stability. And we use Crashlytics and Google Analytics a lot to identify any kind of potential issues and act quickly. And then we are a job search platform, right? For foremost, right? We use a lot of places and location APIs. Location API help us identify a candidate's location and actually kind of show them relevant jobs in nearby areas. And the same places API help us that candidates can actually look for the areas which they are looking for. The place autocomplete service make search whole more easier and reduce frictions for our candidates. And then, BigQuery, right? As I said, we generate a lot of data. Not only BigQuery, right? How do we move that data from the source? How do we store that data, and how do we process and serve that data to our different scientists, data scientists? BigQuery help us a lot, right? And it's like de facto warehouse for Apna's whole data systems, right? And using Dataproc, Dataflow, and other services, I think it makes it very easy and effortless to start generating insights. And on top of that, I think the vibrant marketplace, which helps us offload a lot of overhead of managing different solutions, right? Like different kind of data stores or caching, that help us to concentrate on building the core business logic rather than managing those different solutions. So in and all, I think Google Cloud has helped us not only scale seamlessly but also focus on building the solutions which our end user needs.
So that's very heartening to hear, Suresh. I really love the way that you are building out the future. But if I may ask, what is next? How do you see this partnership really opening new avenues for your business? And
Mhm.
from your lens, what is the future looking like?
Sure. See, Apna's business model has extremely strong network effects across our jobs platform and communities both, right? And we have that momentum, and we aim to scale further, right? As I said earlier, our vision is to become the largest professional networking platform for the rising workforce for the entire world, okay? And making that employment opportunities accessible to everyone, across the globe. So we continue to invest in product development, and we want to ensure a seamless experience for all of our users, now candidates and also employers, who are posting jobs and hiring on our platform. We plan to expand geographically too, pan India, international markets, right? And we are a product made in India, but for the world, and we are scaling rapidly, right? Like in March 2021, we were just present in 7 cities, and fast forward to March 2022, we are now present in 70 plus cities, and that is including tier 2 cities also. End of this year, we want to go pan India, right? So for that, we need to scale both our tech teams and business teams, and we are hiring across product, data, and engineering, right? And we are hiring for people who are driven by the goal of positively impacting lives, right? And people who echo similar values of deep empathy, insane customer obsessions, and ownership, right? And in that journey, I think Google Cloud is strategic for us. Why? Whether it is expanding our product capabilities, building new features, using data to connect job seekers to more relevant job opportunities, or ensuring trust and safety for our communities. We rely a lot upon innovations made possible by Google Cloud, and continue to leverage more and more of best-in-class data, machine learning solution to actually build these capabilities. We also intend to strengthen our SRE implementation to align with best practices like SLOs, error budgets, so that we can ensure maximum uptime and reliability for our job seekers and employers. And you spoke about multi-cloud. That's one area which we are looking, excitedly and following very closely, right? Okay, how can we leverage multi-cloud? And while I don't think, we will be ever in a hybrid cloud situation, but, I think multi-cloud provides a lot of, benefits. And I think Kubernetes or GKE can be, one foundational, cornerstone for that. And you also spoke about Istio, API gateways, right? That's where, and our number of microservices keep on growing. So the operational overhead also keep on growing, right? So using Istio service meshes and API gateways, we want to simplify managing our application, and also, like how do we observe them, So these are a few of the areas, which excites me, and, I look further toward, partnership with Google Cloud.
Oh, Suresh, all of what you just mentioned are music to my ears. You have had a fantastic success so far. Congratulations on it, and then best wishes for even further and accelerated growth, because together this partnership will grow tremendously. I want to thank you for your time today, sharing your ideas, your views on from a customer lens. what developers go through and how they are leveraging Google Cloud. It's a big learning for us always. Thank you so much for your time, Suresh. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Subram.